Let me let y'all know right out the gate that I am a fan of Ari Lennox and I am rooting for Ari Lennox. Absolutely no Ari Lennox hate or slander will be tolerated here, only good faith critique. And I feel compelled to make that disclaimer because Ari Lennox is very often unfairly handled by the public, the fans, and the industry. Would you believe that there's on thread right now talking about they think they was tricked into thinking that Ari Lennox could sing because they love Shea Butter Baby but hate her new music? That nut shit right there is what happens when people know they don't like something but they can't articulate why. Because let us be clear, Ari Lennox is a phenomenal singer. The problem is not and will never be her voice. Ari recently dropped her latest album, Vacancy. I've listened to the album all the way through more than a few times now, which I am glad that I did before coming to run my mouth to y'all, because I definitely liked it more and more with each listen. And I ended up really enjoying it. There is a lot that I really like about the album. I think the beats are amazing. Ari's vocals are beautiful. The album opens up very strong with one of my favorite tracks on the entire project, Bobbin in DC. And of the 15 songs on the album, I ended up downloading 9 of them. I have Deep Strokes and Cool Down on repeat, and I am living for her experimenting with a new sound on both Cool Down and her collab with Buju Banton on the track Company. So I really like the project. And I would wager that a lot of people who didn't love it after their first listen would probably feel differently after sitting with it for a while, because I definitely do. But I do know exactly why I didn't love it on my first listen, and not only do I think that reason is still valid, I think it's the same reason a lot of folks who love Shea Butter Baby haven't loved Ari's newer stuff. The lyrical content feels shallow, which isn't always a problem. In fact, it's not often a problem. A lot of shallow shit go hard, but shallow isn't what people listen to neo soul for. People not only listen to neo soul to find depth in the music, but they want that depth to feel like the person really stripped down, bared their soul. Which I believe is part of the reason shit like D'Angelo's How Does It Feel hits so hard. Yes, D'Angelo was fine as fuck in the video, but I think it's also how the visual matched the song. The song felt like someone stripping down to bare their soul to give us magic, like the best neo soul should. And that's what he showed us too. And I think that's what Ari's music evolution has been missing. Both Ari's old EP Foe and her album Shea Butter Baby resonated with us because it felt meaningful. When Ari said she just got a new apartment and she gonna leave that floor wet and walk around this bitch naked cause no one gonna tell her shit, we felt that shit. And we believed that she felt that shit. Whereas, the lyric and themes on this latest album don't just sometimes feel shallow, they feel inauthentic. But I do want to emphasize that it feeling inauthentic to me or anyone else doesn't actually mean it is. I want to be clear about that because as a creative, I know exactly how annoying it is when someone who does not know you decides that something you've made isn't good or doesn't represent you just because it isn't relatable to them or it doesn't connect to the fictitious idea of you they have in their mind. I can't stand a "this surprised me from you" ass comment. Nigga, you don't know me, just like I don't know Ari. And I also want to be clear that I'm not trying to pigeonhole Ari Lennox into a Shea Butter Baby box. I don't need or want her to keep making that album or reproducing what feels relatable to me. I don't need to relate to this dick so good. All I want to do is cater to you, cook you spaghetti, clean your drawers, get on my knees and die about your dick ass album Ari's giving us. Just like I don't need to relate to my girl Lotto always yapping about her low body count or Pusha T's devotion to rapping about weight he don't move. Ari Lennox is allowed to make whatever the fuck she wants. I don't think an artist should be confined to one sound or style of music. If we want her old shit, we can go run it back. But I think we'd connect more to the new music if the track list on Vacancy didn't look like someone at the label gave her a list of seemingly young, hip, cool buzzwords and told her she needed to include those words in the titles and lyrics of her song. Bart Fitzgerald made a post on Threads that spoke directly to what's lacking from this era of Ari for me. Bart said, Ari Lennox and her ilk continue to write from the trending topics. And while it's important to be contemporary, the lyrics fall flat from depending on the language of the time, but never truly capturing its essence. Unfortunately, I think this is undeniably true looking at Ari's discography these last few years. It went from Pressure in 2022 to buzzword-ass tracks on this latest album like Soft Girl Era, Twin Flame, Horoscope, and High Key. And like Bart alluded to, Ari isn't the only one applying shallow lyrics to amazing beats, beautiful vocals, and technically good songs. It just works better for some folk than others. Artists like Summer Walker could get away with this because it feels true to form. We buy it coming from her. Summer Walker can give me shallow bird bitchery that doesn't evolve because I believe that. That's what she gives me in real life. Summer Walker's music organically feels representative of a generation, whereas folk like Ari Lennox and even my girl Chloe's music sometimes feel like that's what they're trying to be. Summer Walker's music feels like it speaks to gals who truly chasing their soft girl era, Whilst Ari's track Soft Girl Era feels like she wants to convince me she's in it, but it just ends up feeling dated on arrival, which I believe is why singles like Twin Flames and Soft Girl Era failed to gain traction, and are actually the only songs on the album that I flat out don't like. Although I don't think either are technically bad songs. There's nothing wrong with wanting mainstream success or trying to make a hit the radio could play, in the words of J. Cole. The problem is that a lot of the music and its packaging feel like she's just chasing mainstream success by trying to do what has worked for so many of the other girls. But it feels gimmicky, hollow, and shallow in a way that's okay for pop, but not for neo-soul. It's not so different than the disconnect between Shensea's dancehall fans and the new pop music she's been making to appeal to the American market in recent years. Songs like Lick didn't work for Shensia, not because they weren't good or wouldn't have worked for another artist, because they felt like inauthentic appeals to the mainstream. Nevertheless, Vacancy is still a very solid project that does more than enough very well to survive my one major critique. I'm confident that I'm going to return to this album a lot. For now, I'd rate it a 7 out of 10.